problems, especially in the pension systems of a number of states, which we always knew were there, and, well, nothing has changed that awareness, at least in the negative direction.
Well, let's bring this and make it a little bit more personal, talk about the things that affect real people. So jobs and wages and inequality and incomes and so forth. One of the things you talked a lot about, and is also in the report you've put together, is, obviously you talk about how the job market has recovered, but we know that some things haven't fully recovered, such as long-term unemployment. Can you talk about, just in a little bit more detail, what you see in terms of just the labor markets and how well they've recovered? And then we'll talk also about just the implications on wages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is, the President in his State of the Union address talked about middle-class economics, and middle-class economics is all about, what's the driver of incomes for the middle class. You were trying to make it about humans. I'm going to try to bring it back to statistics, which I'm even more familiar with.
Okay.
And when I think about middle-class incomes, I think of three important factors that determine them. Number one, productivity growth. How fast is the economy expanding? Number two, inequality. How much of the benefits of that expanding economy are the middle class capturing? And number three, the participation rate. How many people are participating in the labor force, getting jobs, working, versus not able to participate in the economy? In our economic report, we looked really broadly at the history of middle-class incomes from 1948 to the present. And in the report, we simplified it to tell a clear story. I'll simplify it for you a little bit further and just divide it into two time periods. 1948 to 1973. Middle-class households saw their incomes rise at 2.8% per year. At that rate, they double every 25 years, once a generation. 1973 to 2013, there's a couple different measures. My favorite would say incomes were growing at about 0.5% a year. At that rate, it would take more than a century for incomes to double. So there's this dramatic slowdown from what you saw before 1973 to what you've seen after it. All three of those factors, I said, played a role. Productivity growth was faster in the immediate post-World War II years. A lot of that was pent-up innovation from World War II. A lot of that was significant investments the government made in areas like the interstate highway system. A lot of that was disrupted and went away. We're getting part of it back with all the innovation I was talking about, but still only part of it. Inequality was a dramatic change. Let's forget the top 1% for a moment and think about the bottom 90%. From 1948 to 1973, the share of income going to the bottom 90% went up a little bit. Went up to 68